Hello there and welcome. Today we're going to talk about something that affects so many of us, but we rarely connect the dots. It's the hidden relationship between a really common habit, eating late at night, and a health condition that can quietly do a lot of damage, sleep apnea. You know, it's a connection that flies under the radar for most people, but really understanding it, well, that could be the absolute key to finally getting a truly deep and restful night's sleep. So let me just ask you something. Do you ever get a full 8 hours, but you wake up in the morning and you just feel drained? You're dragging yourself out of bed, you feel foggy, and it's just so frustrating. Now, we're quick to blame things like stress, or maybe we think we just didn't sleep quite long enough. But what if the real problem isn't how long you slept, but something you did right before bed? What if the culprit is actually in your kitchen, tied directly to your last meal of the day? Well, that's what we're going to dive into. All right, first things first, let's get really clear on what we're talking about here. Sleep apnea is so much more than just a bit of loud snoring. This is a serious medical condition. It means that while you're asleep, your breathing literally stops and then it starts again. And this isn't just once or twice. It can happen hundreds of times a night for 10, 20, even 30 seconds at a time. And every single time that happens, your body, and maybe most importantly, your brain, are being starved of the oxygen they desperately need to repair and function properly. And the long-term results of being starved of oxygen night after night, well, they're pretty severe. We're not just talking about feeling tired. When this goes untreated, it's directly linked to some of the biggest health challenges out there. We're talking about high blood pressure, because your heart is struggling all night. That leads to a higher risk of heart disease and even stroke. It's also connected to diabetes and, frighteningly, to cognitive decline over time. This is exactly why it's so incredibly important to understand every single factor that might be contributing to it. So, to really get our heads around this, we're going to break it down into 4 simple parts. First, we'll pinpoint the real problem, the silent thief. Then we'll look at the chain reaction it kicks off. After that, we'll see the strain this puts on your whole body. And then, most importantly, we'll finish up with a simple, straightforward path to making things better. All right, let's jump right into section 1. The silent thief of sleep. This is where we start to uncover this really surprising link between something as mundane as when you eat dinner and something as critical as how you breathe all night long. So here's the core idea for today, laid out as plainly as possible. The problem is eating late at night, and the big consequence is that this habit does silent damage to your breathing while you're completely unaware. We often think of late-night eating in terms of, maybe gaining a little weight or getting heartburn, but the reality is it has a direct physical effect on your airway, creating this hidden stress that can make a minor breathing issue a whole lot worse. Now, let's explore how this one little habit can spiral into a much bigger issue. In this next section, we're going to look at what I call the late-night domino effect. It's actually fascinating and, a little bit alarming to see how this one choice can tip over a whole series of physical problems, one after another, that makes sleep apnea worse. So, the very first domino to fall. It's the buildup of a particularly nasty type of fat called visceral fat. Now, this is not the kind of soft fat on the outside that you can pinch. No, this is the hard internal fat that actually wraps itself around your vital organs, like your liver and your intestines, and that makes it far more dangerous. So, what does this fat have to do with breathing? Well, it creates a direct mechanical problem. I want you to picture your airway as sort of a soft, flexible tube, like a garden hose. When visceral fat builds up in your chest and around your neck, it literally starts to press on that tube from the outside. It squeezes it, making the passage for air much, much narrower. And when that passage is narrow, it's way more likely to collapse when your muscles relax during sleep. And that collapse, that's an apnea event. And this right here, this shows why when you eat is just as important as what you eat. Let's say you have a 500-calorie meal at lunch. Your body's active, your metabolism is running high, and you're probably going to burn those calories for energy throughout the afternoon. But take those exact same 500 calories and eat them right before you go to bed. Your body is powering down for the night. It doesn't need that energy. So what does it do? It's much more likely to store those calories as that dangerous visceral fat we just talked about. This is a huge point. Timing is everything. Okay, so the next domino to get knocked over in this chain is digestive disruption. Think about it. Your digestive system, just like the rest of your body, is supposed to rest and repair itself overnight. But when you eat a big meal late, you're forcing it to go into work mode, to fire up and start digesting, all while you're lying down flat, which just makes its job harder. This situation is a perfect recipe for acid reflux. That's when stomach acid starts to creep back up into your throat. And this isn't just about a little discomfort. That acid causes inflammation and irritation right at the back of your throat, smack in the area of your airway. Now, you might not even be aware of it, but your body reacts to that irritation. Your breathing patterns become more shallow, maybe a little more erratic, as a protective response. And unfortunately, that instability makes you even more vulnerable to those breathing stoppages. Okay, so we've covered the mechanical problems, the fat squeezing the airway and the acid irritating it. But the effects of late-night eating actually go way deeper than that. In this next part, we're going to see how this single habit puts your entire body under strain. It throws your internal chemistry, your hormones, completely out of whack. I like to call this the blood sugar roller coaster. Here's how it works. You eat a late meal, especially if it's got carbs. Step 1, your blood sugar spikes up. Step 2, your body freaks out a little and releases a big surge of insulin to bring it back down. But because you're about to be inactive for 8 hours, it often overcorrects. And that leads to step 3. A few hours into your sleep, your blood sugar crashes. So all night long, your body is on this wild ride. Up, down, up, down. That kind of instability is the exact opposite of what your body needs for calm, stable sleep. Now, all of this hormonal chaos, this roller coaster, sends constant stress signals to a part of your body called the autonomic nervous system. You can think of this as your body's autopilot. It's the system that's supposed to be quietly in the background, managing your breathing and your heart rate while you sleep. But when it's getting jolted all night by these hormonal swings, it can't maintain that steady, peaceful rhythm. It's almost like someone is gently poking you all night long, preventing you from ever sinking into that deep, restorative sleep. And it doesn't stop there. On top of the hormonal issues, eating late also ramps up something called oxidative stress. A really simple way to think about this is like internal rust. It's a process where these damaging little molecules called free radicals start to attack your cells. This creates a state of low-grade, chronic inflammation all over your body. And here's the kicker. That inflammation can actually weaken the muscle tissues in and around your throat, making them more, well, floppy, and even more likely to collapse during sleep. So when you step back and look at the whole picture, the total impact on your body is just huge. You've got disrupted sleep cycles, which means you wake up feeling groggy and not sharp at all. That leads to having lower energy and a tough time focusing during the day. And in the long run, you're looking at chronic inflammation and a much higher risk of metabolic problems. It's pretty amazing and a little scary to think this whole cascade can start with just a late-night snack. Okay, I know that was a lot of doom and gloom, and right about now, you might be feeling a bit worried, but please don't be, because here is the best part. We're now at our final section, the simple path to recovery. The really great news is that the damage we've been talking about isn't permanent. There's a clear, incredibly simple way to reverse this process and get your sleep back. And the single most powerful strategy is simply this: finish eating earlier in the evening. That's it. This creates a longer fasting window overnight where your body isn't burdened with digestion. You've probably heard this called intermittent fasting, but don't let the name scare you. It's not about some extreme diet. It's just about changing the timing of your meals. For most people, this just means finishing dinner by 7 p.m. and then not eating again until breakfast the next morning. And look at how perfectly this simple change reverses every problem we discussed. First, it gives your digestive system that much-needed break, which dramatically reduces acid reflux. Second, it gets you off that blood sugar roller coaster, allowing your hormones to stabilize overnight. Third, during that extended fast, your body switches fuel sources and starts to burn stored fat for energy. And yes, that includes that dangerous visceral fat. And what's the final result of all this? Your body finally has the calm, stable internal environment it needs for truly deep and uninterrupted sleep. So when all is said and done, the main takeaway here is both clear and really powerful. Stopping late-night eating is not some new health fad. It is one of the simplest, most effective, and scientifically supported ways to directly improve your sleep quality and lower your risk for sleep apnea. It's a tiny shift in your daily schedule that can have an absolutely massive impact on your long-term health. So today, we've seen firsthand how a seemingly small change, just adjusting your mealtime by a few hours, can have this enormous positive ripple effect through your entire body. It's a perfect example of how much control we actually have over our own health and well-being. So I'll just leave you with this one thought to take with you. Knowing what you know now, what's the next small, simple habit you could tweak to build an even healthier, better life? Thank you so much for your time.